Okay, so what brings you in today?
I have mandatory counseling after getting a DUI last month after attending a family party.
Sorry to hear about this. Was this a one-time party?
No, my family tends to throw parties a lot.
Is drinking a big part of these parties?
Yeah, you can't really escape a party with my family without drinking.
So if you were given a situation where you didn't drink, what would happen?
I would say you'd be an outcast, treated way different, almost like you weren't part of the family.
Yeah, it's never good to be an outcast. I'd hate to see that situation. Do you drink outside of these parties?
Yeah, every weekend. Works pretty hard. It's always good to let off some steam.
Does it seem to you that this is the only way to let off steam after work?
I've really never tried anything else. It seems like so easy since everybody else at the work site goes out for drinks. I definitely have a problem that's taken over my life though. It seems like everywhere I turn I drink.
It's never good to think of drinking as a maze with no end. There's definitely some outlets and exits that you can have other than drinking. I feel like you could find yourself more calming exterior motives. Maybe take a weekend off or a few weekends. You have control over your life, and that's something you can find and gain.
I get that. I feel that I can slowly overcome my need if I stop putting so much weight on the action.
Yeah, exactly. What time in your life that you aren't drinking?
I'd say whenever I'm alone with my kids or my wife, I feel bad about drinking in front of them. Maybe that's why I drink so heavily when I'm not alone with them.
So there's moments in your life when you can calm the urges. Is it it's good to call back on those emotions when you are drinking, because you can always feel that you have something deep down where that can calm those urges. I feel that you're very aware in your situation. I feel like you could easily rely on these emotions when you need them the most.
Thank you. It's always hard to understand a problem at hand when it's going on in that moment. I feel that I always try to feel these emotions when I'm drinking. It's just so hard at the exact moment to understand that there's a problem.
Yeah, like I said, you have the ability to fully understand your problem. It's just you need to take hold. I think that way it kind of bears on your actions. So I think you could take that energy somewhere else and direct it to something else you enjoy. What else do you enjoy besides that?
I've gotten pretty big into grilling. Usually people drink when they cook or like they're grilling out, but I don't really do that. I try to stay sober.
So you would say that you care about your family and grilling so much that you won't drink?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I don't drink in excess when I'm doing something that I truly care about.
Yeah, so I think this is a good footstep to the idea that in other settings you could care about something other than drinking, maybe getting to know your coworkers or maybe getting to know your family a little bit more. If you were totally away from drinking after work or parties with no fear of exclusion, what do you think would happen?
I feel that maybe I would understand my family and coworkers almost more. I barely know my coworkers outside of just going out and getting drinks with them. I feel like we don't do anything else outside of that. And I feel that I grow, or at least would grow closer to all my family members. I mean, there are some people in my family that don't drink at all. But as I said earlier, they're seen as more or less outcasts. But I just overall felt that I could be more connected with the people around me, my family around me, my kids, and things like that.
Yeah, so just with this question, you've overcome the first step, noticing your surroundings. I feel that you have the ability to learn and gain more knowledge with people around you. I feel that you can form bonds with non-drinkers, even though you fear the outcast motive. But I hope that through these more sessions, you can start to understand more about who you are as a person. So our first technique was the idea of exception questioning. The example was, so I gave a situation where you didn't drink, what would happen? And then the client would say that he was an outcast or treated differently. So it's kind of building up a rapport of like when's drinking and when's not drinking in the client's life. And then another technique that we used was change talk. So sometimes the client would say that the problem has no end or it has some weight on them. So I, as a counselor, would kind of orientate them in a way that it's not an ending maze. There's other exits rather than drinking.
And then the next technique that we used was looking for what works. The client talked about whenever he's alone with kids or family that he might, or specific family, kids and his wife, that he doesn't like to drink in front of them, and it's more or less about putting yourself in these situations where you feel like that no need to drink. And then the positive orientation, like there are moments in your life when you're able to calm your urges. I think it's a good thing to try and bring a positive orientation to how you are viewing your problems going on in your life, and it makes it easier to overcome those challenges that you're going through.
Mm-hmm. And then we had another exception question was what times of your life you're not drinking. So that kind of played into Landon's kind of idea of like looking for what works. So we kind of built the exception question, then based that on to the actual technique of looking for the what works. And then the final one was the
miracle
question. Yep.
And the miracle question being, if I were to totally take away drinking after work or family parties with no fear or exclusion, what would happen?
So yeah, that was like kind of just finding the ultimate what if at the end of the session.
What if you were to stop drinking? What would happen?
Yeah. So that's the overall techniques. We had kind of built this around an actual client session rather than kind of a one-on-one like some other classmates. So there we go.